Some- we're talking about
We're talking about entertaining.
you host dinners too, is what we were.
Yeah, we're talking about Christmas dinners.
Yeah. All right. So this is a cake, and what do you call this cake?
This is a lane cake. So this is my grandmommy's recipe for a lane cake, and it's an old Southern cake, and it's.
What is a lane cake? What is that? Just
So it is usually made Thanksgiving, Christmas. It has a filling of nuts, coconut, maraschino cherries, and 22 tablespoons of butter and some eggs. So I'm going to show you how it's done.
All right, let's do it.
So we have 3 cups of flour here, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and then we also have half a teaspoon of salt. Now I've taken some room temperature butter. This is 10.5 tablespoons of butter.
It looks like potatoes.
I've creamed. That's actually perfect. So I've creamed that with 2 cups of sugar and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And you want it to be that fluffy consistency of potatoes or like snow cream.
Okay.
So mix that into your, if you'll hand me that bowl out of the refrigerator.
Yeah, we were supposed to get that before the break,
So
weren't we?
this recipe has 8 eggs in it. And what you do is you separate the egg whites from the egg yolks.
Okay.
And we use the whites in our actual cake. And that's going to give us a really light and fluffy cake.
So these are all the egg whites.
It is. What I've done is I've put those in a KitchenAid stand mixer and I've whipped those just until they have gotten stiff.
They are very fluffy though.
And you're going to fold that in. We're going to add in a cup of buttermilk, so we're going to add that in there too. And you're going to mix this. I like to do it by hand. You can use a stand mixer, but I like to do it by hand because that way you don't overwork the eggs.
Okay.
Now you want the eggs in there like we said, because what that's going to do is it's going to create a really good spongy mixture for us, and that's really going to soak up our good filling.
Trace, this is like a science project.
A little bit. Baking is like a little science project. This is the only cake I make, and I make it twice a year. So I've greased and floured I use skillets. So my grandmommy always used skillets, and I use the same ones.
Okay.
She burnt this cake. 350-degree oven. Now you want to keep stirring your batter until it's really nice and smooth.
Okay.
It's going to take about 20-25 minutes for that to cook, and you're going to know because it's, stick a toothpick down in there, make sure it's done, and then cool those on a rack.
So you've taken these and poured those in?
Yeah, pour those directly into your skillet there. We'll just pour one.
All right,
and even that up a little bit, and it will be, you can just use 2 8-inch cake batters too. So this is our egg yolks, and I've put that in a double boiler, and I've combined it with 2 cups of sugar, vanilla, and another half a stick of butter.
So the double boiler helps it not become scrambled eggs.
Right, exactly. And now we're going to pour that into, we have a cup of pecans. You can also use walnuts, a cup of shredded coconut, a cup of maraschino cherries, and a cup of raisins. Now, if you want to go the extra step, you can take your raisins and soak those in a little bit of bourbon before for that really good extra flavor. And it's a really pretty filling. The traditional way of a lane cake is a lot of times they will use the filling itself as the icing, but I like to create a cream cheese icing.
This is unique. We've only got like 30 seconds.
This is the fun part. This is important.
Okay.
Add in half a cup of rum to that. You can also use brandy, and what you're going to do is stir that up. When that comes out, allow that to cool. Spread that filling in between those 2 cakes.
So then between these 2, which would come out here, put this in between those.
And then layer your cake and do a whipped cream cheese icing, and you are ready to go.
All right, and you can see what it looks like. So we will we'll take a break and we'll cut this and show you, but you can see there on the end what it looks like.
Oh, so pretty, so festive.
It's a lot to go into it, but man, boy, what an interesting cake.
Oh, it's so good, and it's so worth every step.
All right, he is Trace Barnett, bitter socialite.
Bitter Southern socialite.
Making a lane cake today. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. We'll cut that pretty cake there and let you see what it looks like on the inside.
Hey, Dad.